Welcome to a little follow-up video. So this is part 2 of this Sound FX Machine video. Finally, I got a little bunch of those ICs, and the fun thing is that they fit into my circuit board. And the number looks a little bit weird. See, this is the N version, and the N version should have been with 2.54 millimeter spacing, but this one is the 1.78 or some whatever it is, the smaller spacing, and it looks a little bit with the date codes and everything. I was a little bit worried this could have been a fake, so I did all sorts of search if this is fake or not, and it turns out it should probably be okay. So what have I done so far? So a really fast recap if you didn't see part 1 of the video. So this turns out to be a collector's item, and it's actually worth quite a lot of money for some collectors. So that means I want to keep this as original and as intact as absolutely possible. I cleaned some of the contacts and pots and all that, and it is almost working super duper. I have a little bit of contact problems, but it's not enough to call it a defect or anything like that, right? So I just want to keep this as it is. So here is a new copy version of this one, where I did as much as I could to make it look and feel exactly the same. The reason why I made it like that is, of course, so you can use the manual with all the setups for all the different sounds exactly as they will fit the original, of course, right? So I made some stickers that fits and all that. So see, I try to make it as nice as possible. And here's of course a little DC input, an LED that will show us if we have DC, and line output. So that is what we need to use this one for. And a metal box where everything is much more nice and stable. I am using Elma switches. Yeah. So those are like €100 each. Oh, we're going full crazy level to make this one as good and as stable as you can imagine. I also got some real nice knobs for this one. They are more or less the same size, and I added a little bit of paint here so it will be easier to see where they are pointed. So I will mount all these and a good activator switch. I think this is a lot more reliable compared to these really dodgy switches. About the DC supply, of course, you can take a little DC connector like that, and some got positive in the middle, some got negative, some they are a little bit more or too much or too low voltage. So my idea is I will start with a series diode and a little local voltage regulator, and then I will have my on-off switch on a regulated, stable and accurate voltage for my board. So this is my first little mounting of the board, and here is my my mounted board with all the components. And we don't really need that many components, just all those capacitors for the different switches, and the rest will be potentiometers, and then it should probably be working. So yeah, let's put this chip into my board and see if it's working or not. That was a lot of soldering, but I am done. First attempt, I actually flipped the counterclockwise and the clockwise positions of the potentiometers, so of course nothing worked the right way, at least. So anyway, now I had to flip all this, and they are of course using a common ground. I'm trying to use a little bit of different wires to make all this mess a little bit easier to figure out, and also to show how you can do this. So that you can see how stuff is connected, and you are doing it the right way and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, about the speaker output. This is 39 ohms and 10 ohms, so I have a little voltage divider here, and then this output goes now into the line out. And this is the reason why I'm using those, the low ohm resistors here. That is, of course, because I want to load the output correctly to get the right frequency response and all that. But also I want to have low level for line output, but I also want to be able to drive a little loudspeaker directly if I want to do that, so I can play with this unit alone. So now it can actually do everything. And here is the little LED that shows the right input polarity and all that. And yeah, I think we should just try and play with it. Also, yeah, this is a little bit of a trick. I don't have a copyright for this, but you can of course do this. Use a little metal angle like that, so when you are playing around with cases like this, then you can play with it and work with it, and then you don't bend any of the wires, and you can easily access everything, and you can flip it this way, and then you can work here, and then I mean this is a really good way to do it. And when you're done, everything just fits in, and you just flip down the bottom lid, and then you're done. So this is yeah, quite smart. And also while you're playing with it like that, then you can have it standing like that. So let's see if we can find something fun to play with here in the manual. Everything should still be completely compatible. Card trying to some. There was a few of these that did not work on the original as well, but I will try a few of these settings, and let's see if they work. So let's try this time bomb and explosion. If you look at all the settings here, I really think that I did my very best to copy all those settings right here. And then the idea is you just push the aha. So maybe it's a time bomb, so it should say some sounds and then it should explode. Ah. Aha, so this is the click, click, click that you hear in the beginning. So that is how it's supposed to sound. Haha. So here let's take the original one, and I've put, I hope, all the settings again exactly as the original. And it should, let's just hear mine first. So you hear these clickety click, and then nothing. And this is exactly what I imagined. There is some sort of a sound source or something that is missing in this one. And this proves that I was right, because mine is working and this one is not. And I got exactly the same settings, and the first start is exactly the same. So let's try the next sound down here. This car trying to start engine. Well. Here we go. Oh, I don't know what kind of car makes sounds like that. And here is mine. This one sounds a little bit more healthy. I don't have the same kind of nasty. Sounds a little bit. See, there is definitely a difference. See? This one should be a submarine dive warning. I don't know exactly what. Maybe this is the one that I think I'm doing this right. 4 and 4 and all this. So here. So what am I doing different in this one? I think that I have everything set right. have the fade and all that. But it's definitely a very... I don't know if a submarine sound anything like that. But there is a very big difference in the sound settings, and I made all the capacitors and resistors exactly to the right values in mind. So I think there is a few problems. Well, I think I'm done playing with this thing for tonight. At least I'm happy that most of the features, they seems to be working. I have a little bit of calibration issues with the ranges or the values or anything like that. So I think that is more or less all I wanted to say. Yes, I think, did I also say that all the files, if you want to build one yourself, so all the sticker files, here you see I got extra stickers, all the circuit board files, they are available at PCBway. And there's a project. I will put the link in the description so you can go there and check it out. And then you can, make your own. And you can buy the chips and you can do this and that. And I think this is also quite easy to find the manual here with all the different sounds. But you can, of course, easily make your own. So thank you very much for watching so far. I hope you had a little bit of fun. Oh. All right. Bye-bye.